She once sang for the world. Now she sang only for him, in silence. This is the story of Ilara, a name that once echoed in sold-out arenas, a voice that was a global symphony. Her songs were anthems of hope, ballads of heartbreak, hymns of joy. Millions knew her voice, but only one person truly heard her song. That person was Leo. He wasn't a fan in the front row. He was the quiet sound engineer in the back, the one who made sure every note she sang reached the world perfectly. He saw the person behind the persona, the vulnerability behind the vibrato. Their love story wasn't a whirlwind romance played out on tabloid covers. It was a slow burn, a melody composed in stolen moments backstage, in quiet conversations after the roar of the crowd had faded. Leo didn't fall for the star. He fell for the woman who would hum off key, while making coffee, the one who doodled lyrics on napkins, the one whose laughter was more beautiful than any chart-topping hit. For Ilara, Leo was her anchor in a dizzying world. He was the one who could tell if she was tired just by the slight rasp in her voice, the one who would bring her tea with honey and lemon without her even having to ask. He was her safe harbor. Then, the unthinkable happened. A rare illness, a cruel twist of fate, targeted the very thing that defined her. Her voice. It started subtly, a strain she couldn't shake, a note she couldn't quite reach. Doctors and specialists from around the world were consulted. The diagnosis was a blow, a final, deafening silence. The vocal cords that had captivated millions were permanently damaged. The music stopped. The world that had once been her stage became a silent prison. The headlines were brutal. The songbirds. Swan song. Silence falls on a generation's voice. The world mourned the loss of her music, but they couldn't possibly understand the depth of her personal loss. It wasn't just her career that was gone. It was her identity, her way of connecting with the world. Air, very soul. Depression became a heavy cloak. Ilara retreated from the world, from the pitying glances, from the constant reminders of what she had lost. The grand piano in her living room gathered dust, a monument to a life that was no more. She pushed everyone away, including Leo. She couldn't bear for him to see her like this, a shadow of the woman he fell in love with. She felt broken, incomplete. How could he love a singer who couldn't sing? In her mind, their love was a duet, and now she could no longer hold up her part of the harmony. But Leo refused to let her fade away. He wasn't in love with her voice. He was in love with her. The music he fell for wasn't just the sound she produced. It was the rhythm of her heart, the poetry of her soul. One afternoon, he walked into the silent house and found her staring blankly at a wall of gold records. He didn't say a word. He just sat down at the dusty piano and began to play. It was the first song they had ever worked on together, a simple, beautiful melody. The notes filled the suffocating silence. Not weed pity. But love. Ilara watched him, tears streaming down her face. He looked at her, his fingers never leaving the keys, and his eyes said everything she needed to hear. I'm still here. We're still here. That was the turning point. She realized her voice. It's just one instrument. Her love for music, her ability to create, hadn't been stolen. It just needed a new way to be expressed. Slowly, tentatively, she began to find her new voice. She sat beside Leo at the piano, and instead of singing, she would tap out rhythms on his shoulder. She would guide his hands on the keys, showing him the melodies that still lived inside her head. He became her instrument. He translated her silent symphony for the world. They started communicating through music in a way they never had before. A tap of her finger was a crescendo. A gentle squeeze of his hand was a fermata, a held note of pure emotion. Their apartment, once a tomb of silence, was filled with music again. It was different, more intimate, more profound. It was a language only they truly understood. Ilara started writing again. Pages and pages of lyrics poured out of her, more honest and raw than anything she had written before. They were songs about loss, yes, but also about resilience, about finding light in the deepest darkness, and about a love that transcended sound. Leo composed the music, guided by her silent direction. He knew her musical instincts so well. It was as if he could hear the songs in her head. They would spend hours creating. Him at the piano, her beside him, their hands and hearts in perfect sync. It was a collaboration born from tragedy, but built on an unbreakable bond. The music they made was hauntingly beautiful. It had Alara's soul and Leo's touch. One day, Leo secretly recorded one of their new songs. It was an instrumental piece, full of soaring piano melodies and intricate rhythms, a piece that told their entire story without a single word. He uploaded it online under an anonymous name, a song for E. He didn't expect anything. He just wanted to put a piece of their shared soul out into the world. But the world listened. The song went viral. People were captivated by the raw emotion, the story it told without lyrics. Music bloggers wrote about it. Critics praised its depth, and listeners shared how it moved them to tears. They all asked the same question. Who was the mysterious composer behind this masterpiece? Ilara saw the comments, the shares, the love pouring in for a song that came from her silent heart. And for the first time in years, she smiled. A real, genuine smile. She realized that her voice hadn't been silenced. It had just changed its form. Her music was still reaching people, still moving them, still offering hope. Her stage was no longer a stadium. It was the quiet space between her and Leo. Her audience was no longer millions of strangers. It was the one person who had heard her all along. The final scene of their story isn't Alara miraculously getting her voice back. It's something far more beautiful. It's her and Leo, sitting at the piano, the setting sun casting a golden glow on them. He's playing, and she's leaning against him, her eyes closed, her hand on his, guiding the melody. She's not just the silent singer anymore. She's a composer, a creator, a survivor. She once sang for the world, a world that only listened.